So hopefully one of the things that was apparent from Niels Petter's session is a lot of the focus of the team is on usability of NSO. Really, one of the things I talk to my team about a lot is time to value, and that is the time from when you fire up NSO to the time you actually get to do useful things with it. And a lot of the focus is on things like performance and observability and those kinds of things. The next thing is something they've been working on for about a year, something we're very excited about, which is the next step in usability for NSO as a platform, or just for automation in general. So without stealing too much more of his thunder, I'm going to introduce Lou. He's been my product manager that's been driving this effort to introduce a new product. Lou, over to you.
Hello, Developer Days. Hello, everyone. I'm Lou Menditto. I'm Product Line Manager reporting to Omar. I'm here to talk to you today about our new product we're coming out with called the Crosswork Workflow Manager. We started out looking at Crosswork Workflow Manager a bit over a year ago. We were asking various customers what they wanted to see in a Workflow Manager product, and the themes were fairly consistent. They wanted a way to be able to create workflows, reduce the skill level required, but they also wanted a workflow manager that could be very trusted in their environment. So it had to impose very little risk to their environment. They had to be able to start out slow and be able to grow from there to where they could trust a tool to run workflows at all times of the day. The scope of the workflow had to be fairly broad. It had to be able to automate various steps within their change management process. And that included gathering information, being able to interoperate with the operator or the person starting the workflow to be able to get further guidance on how to proceed, and then be able to run the workflow, be very trackable, and being able to archive results at the end. The intent of the whole system is to really be able to provide the low-risk aspects, the customization aspects, and leading to further refinements over time. So what did the people want to do with the workflows, right? They wanted to be able to start out with just things like, well, the pain points they were looking at were what OS levels am I running on my routers? How do I upgrade them? How do I make that easier to happen? With patches and security updates coming frequently, how do I get those rolled out faster? And also compliance to standard configurations and being able to take care of all of that. Further on beyond that, they want to be able to onboard new equipment and want to be able to deploy services. And when you look at a workflow, you're looking at defining the process. We're moving through the integration of the information from various data sources automatically, being able to drive the implementation, making human decisions and decision points along the way, and then being able, as I said, to be able to verify the results and archive. So we're on the first release of Workflow Manager. It should be shipping towards the end of this month. The design of the system is a very flexible workflow programming environment. We have a domain-specific language that we've introduced to be able to make it both easy to develop workflows, but at the same time give you a lot of flexibility. We have integration adapters through two that we embed directly in the product, which I'll cover in a few minutes. And we also have a software development kit for you to be able to write your own integrations to any other system that you may want to integrate to. And those can be any type of third-party OSS or BSS system. any customers that want to outsource the development of their adapters or their workflows can do through our CX environment customer support people as well. For the operational control of the workflows, which is one of the main areas we focused on to start on, we have job status, we have a repository where you can store your workflows, we have administration functions, and we have role-based access controls. But overall, the system is designed to be able to take various different sources, tie them together, and get to the intent that you want it to in the end. And when I talk about a workflow, again, I'm talking pictorially in this slide about the various steps of the change management process. So starting with whatever starts the need for wanting to run the workflow, whether it's a call from a ticketing system or whether it's an operating or scheduling workflow at a particular time, and then running through the various steps of status checking the network, status checking the available information, being able to pull it in, and then being able to actually drive the process to the network. And our preferred path to provisioning for the network is NSO. It does those things very, very well. And we build on top of that to be able to give you the broader scope of the entire system. The way we integrate to other systems is through adapters. So you can connect to any system. You write the adapter code to be able to do that. We provide one for NSO, and we provide a generic REST adapter currently. So overall, for the Workflow Manager, we're talking about treating workflows as critical tasks. They have to be resumable, they have to be reliable, recoverable. All those capabilities are built into the system. We also use PostgreSQL as our database internally. Again, a very reliable system on which to build from. The system is architected to be very, very scalable. So you can have multiple workers all working from one or more task queues. They're pulling workflow activities from the task queue, they're executing them, and then they're moving on to the next one. So the system can scale horizontally as you add more workers. The flexibility is through the programming language, which allows you to code in either JSON or YAML. We also, as I said, we can integrate to third-party systems through adapters. And we have REST APIs for all of the functions that are available through the user interface to be able to drive the system. A few other things on, a few more details on it. So Crosswork Workflow Manager is an on-prem system. It's designed to work on a Kubernetes environment. We ship that environment with the product. We have the prepackaged adapters for REST and for NSO. We also are providing in the system a few sample workflows to get you started so you can see how it operates. And the objective of the system is to provide you with security, status checking, notifications, as well as completion results. And you'll actually see some of this afternoon. We're going to have a demo on this where Dimitris is going to come on, and he's going to show you some of the aspects of the product. For the system itself, we also wanted to have good manageability of the system, or good observability would be another way to think about this. So we have logs and metrics capability through MinIO, Loki, and Timescale DB. And you can integrate your own Prometheus or Grafana to that through those interfaces. This is a sample workflow. In this particular workflow, we're doing a router upgrade or downgrade. This is a very simplistic version of the workflow. It's not intended to be the way you would do it for production, but it's to prove the point. we can download a file, we can check the status of the system, we can then copy the running config to the startup config, and then we can restart the router. The operations interface is providing for administration, status checking, logging, and archiving of workflows. The user interface for the product is a similar look and feel to the rest of Crosswork. So it's should be, for those of you who are using that, should be fairly familiar to you. And I don't remember if they're in this presentation, but yes, we do have some screenshots. They are changing slightly over the next coming month as we finish off the product. But in general, you have, for example, you've got the job tracking observability part of the product, where you can look at all of the running workflows as jobs. You can see their status. You can see when they were started, who they were started by. And if you want to drill down into a particular job, you can drill down to it, and you get the other screenshot next to it, where you can see more details about when it was created. You can actually see some of the code that's in there, and you can scroll through that. For licensing for the product, it is included within the Crosswork Network Automation Suite. So if you already have an entitlement to that suite, it's included within that. If you don't have that entitlement, you have to get that. And it's subject to whatever other capabilities you want within that suite. And to give you an example of the licensing itself, within the automation suite, we have a number of products within Crosswork. They're entitled under the high-level product ID there, and there's RTUs for the Essentials package and the Advantage package, and we are part of the Essentials, so it's the least expensive of the tiers. So we've been talking to some customers as we've been developing this. We've had a number of very good reactions. One of the main reactions, the one that I've noted on the top here, is that everybody likes to think about visual programming when it comes to workflows and drag and drop type of interfaces. But really, the reaction from some of the larger customers is, well, that's actually rather complicated to manage. What they wanted was something that is far easier to embrace. It may take work to program them, but we know how to program, at least within the audience. I'm pretty sure we do, right? So this is something that they consider to be a strength. The development of the workflows themselves, it's with the domain-specific language based on the serverless workflow specification. It defines what you would expect from a process language. So you have triggers, you have actions, you have flow logic, and so forth. And the adapters themselves, the adapters are written in Golang. Through our SDK, we actually make that even easier to where you can tell the SDK, you can define what type of adapters you'd like, and it generates a bunch of that code for you. So the goal today and over the next few releases is to continue to make that easier for you. And the other point on here is about where are we going with automation. I mean, the reaction from these customers was that they've got shrinking budgets, they need to move more and more money into automation, and this is one of the products that they feel is going to get them there. For developing the product, we did a number of collaborations across multiple groups across Cisco. We've used our shared knowledge, our shared best practices, sharing of components where applicable. We worked not only within the engineering community, but with our customer experience team who have been doing custom development for various providers over time. And also with some of our automation sales specialists who have been working with you all over time. We took all that input, and this is all what went into building the product. I'm going to talk about a few of the faces on this chart. So Fredric Zeisig is our engineering manager. He's built or managed the NSO NED team in the past. He now manages the development and test teams. He's located in Stockholm with the NSO team. We have people on the team from UK, from Krakow, Poland, and from Romania. We also have Jay Kurji, who's our technical leader. He is based in UK, and he's been one of the lead forces in developing the product and architecting it. For myself, I've already introduced myself. I've been in Cisco 27 years. I was a former engineering manager, went into product management somewhat after that. I've launched a number of products. I'm based in the US, and this is one of the more exciting products that I've been able to be associated with, so I'm very excited about it. And then this afternoon, you're going to hear from Dimitris. Dimitris is a technical marketing engineer. He's based in in Georgia, in the US. He's got deep experience on a number of our automation products, and he's going to walk you through a demo of the product, which I hope you'll find exciting. The team itself, the mission was simple: develop an on-prem workflow manager product, easy to install, small footprint. The system actually will install on a single VM system, and a number of our developers run it on their laptops. And we have, as I mentioned, the SDK I've mentioned a number of times. We have the simple workflows that we've made the team put together so that you have something to guide you. And to date, we've actually delivered 2 beta releases internally within Cisco. And so now we're getting ready for our first commercial release at the end of this month. We're planning to, over time, move on to a cadence of about every 4 months for a new release. We have a good number of features that we're excited to try to bring forward for you. And we'll be developing those along with some additional adapters over time based on market priorities for whichever systems are most popular. With that, I guess I'll pass on to Omar.
Coming out there and not allowing you to escape. So you guys have been great on Slido, so keep it up. If you keep this up, I'll be able to upgrade out of my middle seat on the flight home, so keep at it. So a couple of questions for you, Lou. A common question, so how does this compare against the other workflow solutions that Cisco offers? Where does it overlap? Where does it complement? How do we take that into account in the product design?
So the other systems are not affected. We're not changing what we offer. We have the BPA product from the services team for customers who want a services deployment to where they're building a custom system for them. We also have a Service Plus partner. We're not changing that relationship either. That's going to continue.
Cool. So do you see this as an enabler for customers that are looking to roll out net DevOps?
I'm sorry, say
So do you see workflow as an enabler for customers that are looking to roll out net DevOps type workflows in their environment?
Yeah, I mean, so we very much see this as something that customers would be eager to move to and start to automate their systems.
Great. Can the Workflow Manager manage other tools other than NSO, AWS, for example? Other Cisco products?
So I'm sorry if that didn't come clear in the slides, but through the use of the adapters, you can connect to any number of systems. We've actually built Internally within our lab, we built an adapter to Netbox so we can do IPAM. I believe that adapter is going to be one of our samples that we're shipping, so customers can build on top of that. We've also built, you'll see in the demo this afternoon, that we've built an adapter to one of our a messaging system, so you can actually talk to humans.
Cool. This is cool. And I think that's, do a little editorializing. I think that's one of the unique things about, about this as a solution. NEDs have been very central to the NSO story in terms of providing a lot of extensibility and direction. Frankly, we never really envisioned over time. We've taken that same concept and brought it to workflow with the understanding if we give you a solid workflow engine, you'll go crazy and find all kinds of interesting things to go automate. I think the thing we've done different is, as Lou said, we're shipping 1.0 comes with an SDK. So you're no longer dependent on Frida's amazing NED team to go build things. You now have the ability to go, build your own adapters, or as Lou said, CX can also happily build them for you. Wow, I'm going to end up in first class before we get out of this session. So is the adapter going to be open source like Ansible Tower?
We're going to move in that direction.
Okay. Is it BPMN compatible?
VM?
BPMN.
Oh, no. Okay. No, not at this time.
Okay. Can it do queuing against NSO as a device so it will not do multiple conflicting workflow runs at the same time?
I think for that one, we should defer to the demo session this afternoon.
Okay.
And we'll have Jay on board.
Or Jay or Victor, anyone want to weigh in on how do we handle multiple workflows touching the same device?
I can quickly answer that. We have got that as a... So I think that's one of the things we do have on our roadmap. We know that this is something we need to do. But at the same time, if we have multiple requests going to NSO, it also does the queuing. So it's a roadmap item to queue in terms of for performance, so we don't overwhelm NSO, because the workflow itself can do hundreds or thousands of orders. So we'll have that on the roadmap. In terms of queuing for particular requests for on a single device, that's something we can look at.
Cool, thanks, Jay. So what's the key advantage of this versus other stuff that's out there like iTential, and why did we go with a different DSL than BPML?
So the product's actually targeted at a set of customers who said that they wanted something different from what's out there. They specifically wanted a system that can run many thousands of workflows, can run long-running workflows, which some of the other systems don't do well, and which they can manage within the practice that they currently have for being able to program systems and manage those rather than managing diagrams.
Cool, and that's definitely feedback we've gotten. I mean, from a couple of our Lighthouse customers have mentioned that as a distinct advantage as workflows got very complex. The pointy clicky started to get cumbersome. So this is a very developer-centric approach that we've taken. Let's see. How do you handle modifications to a workflow?
So we have the concept of maintaining versions of workflows, and you can keep different versions and roll forward or backwards to them over time. Additionally, you always have the ability to create another workflow by a similar name and replace the previous one.
Okay, and we've made a point of workflow as code. So do we treat workflows like we did any code with versioning? And
yes, you can have your own code libraries and so forth for that. Okay,
excellent. Hey, we did pretty good on this.
Thank you. I want to pass off to Fredric before we use up all his time.
I think I've hit everything. So I think, so you're free to go now.
Oh, thank you.
Give me the clicker.
Thank you.
I feel so mean. So this is a developer show. So I think one of the things behind the scenes is we built this in about a year, if that much. And it was a pretty cool development project. So outside of telling you about the product itself, we wanted to share a little bit about the engineering process that went into building this, into building the workflow manager. So I'm going to introduce Fredric Zeisig, who's going to take you through kind of how the sausage was made, or the cake was made. I think you have some analogy here.
Hello, everyone. My name is, as said multiple times, my name is Fredric Zeisig. I have been within NSO engineering since 2013. It's quite a while. And one of my big efforts, according to myself, is that I established the NED team, which is now handed over to, obviously, to Frida, as mentioned by Omar. Late 2022, I was asked by my manager, hey, Fredric, we need to develop a new product. Can you lead that engineering effort? And, I went home and I thought about it and thought, what do I know about workflows, and what do I know about software development, and what do I know about creating teams, right? And you probably, in your professions, we are in different roles here, networking guys, and we have sales representatives, etc. We probably, you in your roles, you have felt the same feeling that I felt. That okay, this probably it will not be easy, right? But challenge accepted. You can help that journey, making life a little bit easier by setting some goals in where you would like to go, and break those down in order for you to just get going, right? And I will associate this development effort or the engineering effort to how you are throwing a party, because that is eventually where we would like to go, right? That's what everyone would like to do. You would like to both throw a party and participate at the party. Okay, good. So, the party thrower. I was thinking, why are we all here? Well, you have shown probably to your managers and to your company that you have the ability, right? So I would like to talk a little bit about why I and my peers, why we believe that we have been given this opportunity to throw this party, right? Because it doesn't come for free. You have some track record, otherwise you wouldn't sit there. So, first thing, NSO engineering, we have a solid predictability, and we have worked a lot on our roles and the definition of what we are carrying out, both in terms of individuals and as teams, right? So it's being very predictable from what internals and externals can expect from our organization. We have also worked a lot on our tooling, and obviously the obvious thing for an engineering is that you work on the tooling to make life easy for your developers. But we have taken it during many iterations, working on tooling for developers, tooling for our quality control, and tooling for our release team. And that has given us the ability to identify bugs very, very early in our development lifecycle. It has given us better control in our release processes, and we have managed to turn a situation where we had, a few years ago, we had lots of patch releases going out. Nowadays, we produce far more maintenance releases, and and hardly no patch releases at all. That gives us the confidence, not only internal but also external. We are predictable. We deliver what we say to do, and people can. We are accountable to our deliveries, right? Okay, the other thing which I think is important, that is our inclusive culture. And inclusive culture, that is defined by taking the opportunity of people inside your organization, listening to not only their opinions, but also take advantage of what they come from, their previous experience. And studies have shown that if you enter an inclusive culture, you get more out of the individuals. And of course, we can talk a lot about studies, but I believe personally that the most significant thing is we have very low attrition in our business entity or our business unit. And to me, that is the ultimate sign of that we have a great work environment, we are doing right things, we are listening to our individual contributors, and people are happy. Okay, so those are the conditions for us to throw the party. So now, if you're heading towards the party, you need to have a proposal, right? And it doesn't matter whether you would like to introduce a new product in a sales motion, or if you're going to introduce a new tool to your operations team, or what it might be. You need something which can elevate you from nothing to really have that kick-ass party. So what we did, we started by collecting a versatile team of people coming from product management. We had people who knew about creating organization from scratch. We had people who knew about workflow products, both from supplier and consumer side. And we also had people being experts in solution and system architecture. This team, it started by looking at, okay, so what is the ask? That's a reasonable thing to start with, right? So we looked at, obviously, all the feature requirements, and that can be a little bit overwhelming to start with. But it turned out that we could find a few characteristics that was important for us in our development journey. And by having those characteristics, we were able to move it forward to research work and eventually proof of concepts, right? And we did try out both, as you have been we tried out both with the existing Cisco workflow full stack products, as well as third party. And then also we did a proof of concept with our own technical stack, right? Which a mixture of both Cisco components, third-party components, and things that we have developed ourselves, right? So then we came with a suggestion, right? Because a proposal needs to end with some kind of proposal. And I choose to split those up to two things. One I already mentioned, and that was the proposal that Lou has talked about, all the things that Crosswork Workflow Manager currently provides or will provide in the future. The other thing that we did was setting a first hiring plan. We knew by defining the technical stack what we needed to provide, and by that we understood what kind of personas do we need in the initial team to carry this from being a proposal into something eventually being a code base, right? Okay, all good. So we were off with the proposal, and it was truly embraced by everyone, I hope, or at least we got approval to continue from upper management, right? So next thing you need to do, you need to go into rehearsal, right? And rehearsal is for you to become better in what you're doing. And typically I was, my wife asked me last night, did you have a meeting last evening? And I was like, no. I was doing a rehearsal because I'm going to have a speak for a bit of people tomorrow morning. So you need that in order for you to get an understanding what flies and what doesn't fly, right? And that is everything from how you address your organization and how you address your development. We started by looking at what we provided from the legacy organization. We didn't say that, okay, let's chase for those experts out onto the market, but really turned into what we provide. And we provide, to start with, we have a very solid organization and processes, and we cherry-picked those who would help us in an early stage. You can imagine that if you start a rehearsal, you cannot take 5 engineers and try to replicate what you provide with 40 engineers. You need to start something, and so we did a cherry-picking of the good things that we could see from a structural perspective, and that helped us to get along with the execution, the operational model, right? We also looked into the people that we have in the organization to see if, okay, do we have people that are eager to develop a product from scratch? And I was told in the same meeting end of 2022 by Fredric that whatever you do, you cannot steal people from NSO engineering. It's that product, it must be untouched, right? So I was very lucky, because what we did find was, to start with, I was able to give one of the NED engineers the opportunity to move to the new organization where he was stuck in his career, right? And by that we could not only have him, get the new chances in his career, but also having a solid partner in advocating for new people coming in on, okay, what do we represent? What is our culture, and what is important for us? We also added a few other people to the team, and we were very lucky because most of them were already Cisconians. So we didn't have the threshold of introducing them to what is Cisco and what do we do at Cisco. And so that was quite okay, right? Cool. So then we started to execute, and we, in the beginning we had a very small team. We set off on doing feature development, which eventually we realized, okay, there is a risk. We would like to show that we can develop something, but we cannot just stack features on top. If you start to develop a new product, you probably things need to have a purpose, right? If you look at NSO, you have your defined use cases, and on top of that, I wouldn't say it's easy to introduce new features, but you already have a set of story map, what the purpose of NSO and what it provides. So we realized fairly quickly that, okay, we cannot just stack all these features. So what we did, and this is one of the crucial moments late last year, that's when we turned all the stack of features that we have delivered so far into a story map. Okay, so how is that helping us? Well, nowadays, when we talk about the evolution of the development, whatever we are going to do in our next programming increment, we can talk about the use cases that we already have and what we are about to develop. It's very easy to get everyone engaged in the story map, and it's even easier to introduce new people to it. So we can elaborate on, okay, these are the use cases in our story map so far. This is what you can expect from the product. This is what it's not providing, but you get it fairly easy, you get a picture of it. And over time, obviously, we have introduced more processes. We have tweaked processes where we see that things are not flying. And not least, we have introduced more people. And I remember one time I was in a meeting and I told my manager, now this is for real. And that when we went from having a WebEx meeting of 5 participants into 35 participants. And that was quite interesting, right? Okay, it's already been mentioned. from the rehearsals, we have done 2 releases, 2 internal releases. Not only will that give us the, you know, the feeling that we're able to deliver as an organization, but it also can show externals that, okay, so you had a proposal and you didn't, everything was not a lie. You seem to deliver something and it looks good and we believe in what you're doing, right? Okay, so we have been doing a few good rehearsals, and now we are, as of this week, we are doing the final touches in going to that party. So we just entered start of release, and we will have that activity for a month, a little bit long, but to start with the first customer shipment, that probably will be needed. In the end, what were we seeking with our parties and this first one and all the future? Well, we would like to expand our automation journey, not only as what we represent inside NSO engineering, but also what we provide within greater automation portfolio. We would like to continue capitalize on our culture and people. It is key for us. And as we are expanding, it's important that people know what is expected from them and what they can expect from us. And then we, of course, would like to be the #1 party. Who doesn't? We will try to throw an awesome first party, but I would like us to improve and be the party that everyone would like to be participating in the preparations, but also being, you know, the guys coming to the party and creating all the buzz, right? That's about it. I don't know about my time. Probably I'm all over. I would like to thank everyone, Lou and all the engineering team, for whatever we have done so far. And I believe that we are on a very good path. Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.